stories are: Ghana police have arrested 4 in kidnapping of Chinese nationals from Ghanaian vessel. The Ghana police has also opened an investigation into alleged assaults involving Afenyo Maken. Persons who intend to perform Hajj with illegal visas will be arrested, fined and deported, says Alhaji ABA Husseini. And in the international news, President Donald Trump is frustrated by trade deal coverage and claims the U.S. holds leverage. The Canada Prime Minister has also stated that Canada is not for sale. Israel has also announced Gaza relocation plan and considers full occupation and aid control. And in entertainment news, Showboy and KT, his ex-signee, have been arrested. Let's go for a quick commercial break, and when we are back, I would give you the details of these stories and more.
Admission, admission, admission. Are you looking for a computer institution with a serene atmosphere in equipping you with the ability to deepen your understanding and in-depth knowledge in computerization? Then the answer is Big Family Multimedia Institute. Our dedicated and experienced teachers are ready to provide personal attention, support, and help you bring your fusion to bear. We are located at Amasama and Dobrogono, Upper Class Junction, and Santa Maria Family and Friend. For more information, contact 0555 20 80 56 0540 932 188. Website bfmnetworks.com. Email info@bfmnetwork.com. Other affiliates include Center for Trade, Big Family TV, Big Family News, Big Family Radio, Big Family Event, Big Family Multimedia Institute, KabaraInfo.com, Trustees, Okman Motors, Soko Mall, ABK TV Ghana. Enroll now and experience the difference.
You are all that matters.
You're welcome back. Before we delve into the details of the news, you can watch us live on Facebook at Big Family Radio and also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Big Family Radio, YouTube and TikTok at Big Family Radio and Big Family TV. You can as well download our radio app on the Google Play Store and App Store. So now, the details of the news. The Criminal Investigations Department, CID, of the Ghana Police Service has disclosed that 4 individuals have been arrested in connection with the recent kidnapping of 3 Chinese nationals aboard a Ghanaian vessel at the Tema port. In April, the 3 Chinese crew members were kidnapped following a suspected pirate attack on the Ghanaian registered fishing vessel, Magazine 1, within Ghanaian territorial waters. The missing crew members, the captain, chief mate, and chief engineer, were found to be unaccounted for after the assailants had departed the vessel. According to reports, 7 armed men boarded the ship at approximately 5:53 p.m., firing warning shots and forcing several crew members to take refuge in a secure compartment. The attackers are said to have remained on board for nearly 3 hours, during which they rounded up the crew on deck and seized their mobile phones before making their exit. Addressing the media on May 6th, CID Director General DCOP Lydia Ayako Donko revealed that the Chinese nationals had been abducted by the suspected pirates and transported to a remote location in Nigeria, where they were eventually abandoned. She added that the Ghana Police Service had since taken up the matter, working closely with relevant agencies, leading to the arrest of 4 suspects believed to be directly linked to the abduction. Investigations, she said, are still ongoing, with security agencies in both Ghana and Nigeria coordinating efforts to apprehend any additional suspects and to unravel the broader network behind the kidnapping.
On MV Mehin 1 and abduction and subsequent rescue of 3 Chinese crew members. On 28 March 2025 at about 0900 hours, the Marine Police Command in Tema received a complaint from a fishing company in Tema that on 27th March 2025, at about 19:30 hours, their fishing vessel MV Mehin 1 was attacked off Yenyano waters by 5 sea pirates on board a wooden boat, with 3 of them armed with AK-47 assault rifles amidst firing of gunshots. That the pirates, who used outboard motor-powered wooden canoes on taking their vessel and crew hostage, destroyed the communication systems and abducted 3 Chinese crew members. The complaint further indicated that the vessel had returned to berth at the Tema Fishing Harbour with 21 surviving crew. The Marine Police Unit of the Ghana Police Service, working together with our stakeholders, the Ghana Maritime Authority, Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, National Investigation Bureau, and the Ghana Navy, as well as the Fisheries Observer, commenced investigation into the incident. On 26 April 2025 at 10:00 hours, police received information from a company representative that the Chinese embassy in Lagos called to inform her that the 3 kidnapped victims have been found in the Delta State of Nigeria and rescued to the Chinese embassy in Lagos. And on 27 April 2025 at 20:30 hours, following arrangements engineered by this office, the 3 kidnapped victims who were rescued and released in Nigeria were received by the police, led by myself, together with other officials from the Ghana Immigration Service at the Kotoka International Airport. There was no sign of physical harm found on any of them, but they all appeared traumatized and requested to be allowed to seek medical attention. On 28 April 2025, between 12:20 and 12:30 hours, the 3 kidnapped and released victims were debriefed at the police headquarters in Accra. The Inspector General of Police engaged the victims and also wished them well. The victims recounted that on the fateful day of 27th March 2025, the pirates kidnapped them in 2 speedboats, blindfolded them, covered them with tarpaulin during the daytime, and traveled with them by sea for about 24 hours to a marshy area, which they later found to be the Delta region of Nigeria. That the kidnappers, upon disembarking from the speedboats, brought motorcycles to convey them for about 2 hours to a riverbank, which they crossed with them on foot to a makeshift camp where they were kept and guarded at gunpoint until 25th April 2025, where they were abandoned for no apparent reason. According to the rescued victims, they roamed the area on foot and went to a village where they were assisted to make calls, which led to their eventual rescue to the Chinese embassy in Lagos. The police has been investigating this case as well, and so far 4 people, a boatswain Clever Victor Kojo Akoli, Eugene Chubuke Mwonam, Chinese cook Zhao Langhao, and second engineer Zhao Hua, have been arrested in connection with the case and have been put before the Tema District Court while investigation continues.
The Ghana Police Service has commenced investigations into the alleged assault of minority leader Alexander Afenyomarkin by a police officer during a protest against the potential removal of the Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokunu, on Monday, May 5th. In a statement issued on Tuesday, May 5th, 2025, Afenyomarkin recounted the incident, alleging that one Constable Folson struck him forcefully on the chest while he approached the barricade to present a petition as part of the demonstration. Addressing journalists at the police headquarters in Accra on May 6th, Director General of the Criminal Investigations Department, CID, of the Ghana Police Service, DCOP Lydia Yakodonko, stated that the service had written to the Speaker of Parliament for the relevant information to facilitate investigations. She said about the Honorable Afenyomarkin's case, she believes that they all saw the videos on social media about the altercation or confrontation that happened during the demonstration. If it's an assault, tussle, confrontation, or whatever it has to be investigated. We've commenced the investigation. We have written to the Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, because he's the sitting member of Parliament. We have identified the police officers who were on duty at the scene. They have also taken statements. They will surely and definitely update us in due course.
I believe that we all saw all their videos in social media about an altercation or confrontation that happened during the demonstration. We captured it on our lenses as well. So it's a matter of investigation. If it's an assault, if it's a tussle or a confrontation, whatever it is called, it has to be investigated. So we've commenced that investigation. We've written to the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament because he's a sitting member of Parliament. We've identified the police officers who were on duty at the scene. We have taken statements and will definitely update you in due course.
To end the local news, all individuals intending to perform Hajj with unauthorized visas will face arrest, fines and deportation, according to a warning from Alhaji ABA Fusaini. The head of corporate affairs, Ghana Hajj Task Force, issued a strong warning to those planning to participate in this year's Hajj pilgrimage without the proper visa type. Prospective pilgrims are required to obtain a dedicated Hajj visa. However, over the years, some visitors entering Saudi Arabia on regular tourist visas have attempted to exploit their presence by participating in the Hajj pilgrimage. This practice is what Saudi authorities have threatened to severely punish this year. Alhaji ABA Fusaini, head of corporate affairs, Ghana Hajj Task Force, emphasizes the implementation of stringent measures to identify these illegal pilgrims. Violators face a harsh penalty, a hefty fine, and deportation. Additionally, the Ministry of Hajj and Umrah has identified advertisements on social media from companies and fake accounts. These advertisements deceive individuals by claiming they can perform Hajj rituals through Umrah, tourist, work, family, transit, or other visa types at enticing prices. In reality, these visas do not authorize Hajj participation and will only expose individuals to potential punishment and legal consequences.
There are some people who are trying to take undue advantage of the unsuspecting character of pilgrims who want to go and have not had the opportunity. So they tell you that they can reduce, we can take some 40,000 from you and get you to go to the Hajj through the back door. I can tell you that it is a very dangerous exercise, not only for this country, but even the pilgrims themselves. As we speak now, there are many pilgrims who have been arrested by the Saudi authorities and they are languishing in jails. They can't even come out to enjoy the basic freedom of even going to patronize the worship in the Grand Mosque because they have been put in custody. And they have told them that they are going to send them. But they go for what we call tourist visa. A tourist visa does not entitle you to do Hajj. And so the Hajj authorities have made that abundantly clear that no tourist visas will be entertained. And anybody who comes with a tourist visa and attempts to enter Makkah for the Hajj will be arrested and charged 250,000 Ghana. Hey, I'm not in Ghana. 250,000 reals. And you know it's about 3.5 reals to a dollar. So you can imagine what that amount is. It's a huge amount. And so a lot of them already have been arrested. And we have taken the time and again to appeal to our brothers and sisters, our fathers and mothers, that they should not patronize that backdoor activity because it is mental to their own welfare. And instead of even getting the opportunity to do the Hajj, they will never see the Hajj again. So we are once again appealing to them and to the people carrying out those clandestine operations. They must cease forthwith. We don't have a duty to enforce the law in Saudi Arabia. The duty for the law enforcement in Saudi Arabia lies with the Saudi authorities. But if anyone ventures to come close, because sometimes they try to come and enter the tents where the Ghanaians are and others, we have served notice that we will not tolerate that intrusion. If you are not part of the pilgrims, because when you allow that, they come in and take over the services that our pilgrims are supposed to enjoy. If it's food, we are feeding the pilgrims free. No, food will be provided for all pilgrims who patronize this exercise. Accommodation will be provided, buses and others for them to facilitate their travel with that. So if they come in their numbers, they will come and disrupt this facility.
Before we move to the international news, you can follow the live coverage on Facebook at Big Family Radio and YouTube at Big Family Radio. The Israeli Prime Minister has announced a significant shift in strategy regarding the ongoing conflict in Gaza, stating that Palestinian civilians currently residing within the territory will be subject to relocation to the southern region of the Gaza Strip. This relocation is described as being implemented in conjunction with the commencement of a new phase of what is characterized as an intense and escalating military operation. This announcement is further compounded by emerging reports and credible speculation, suggesting that the Israeli government is actively considering the possibility of a comprehensive occupation of the entire Gaza enclave. Such an occupation would entail the full assumption of control over all aspects of daily life within Gaza by the Israeli military and civilian authorities. Adding to the gravity of the situation, reports also indicate that Israel is contemplating taking direct control over the distribution of all humanitarian aid and essential resources within Gaza. This potential move would effectively place the Israeli government in the position of directly managing the provision of food, water, medical supplies, and other vital assistance to the Palestinian civilization population, raising significant concerns about impartiality, access, and the potential for manipulation or control. The proposed relocation, coupled with the potential occupation and control of aid, signifies a potentially drastic shift in the dynamics of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and raises serious humanitarian and legal concerns.
אתמול בלילה ישבנו עד שעה מאוחרת בקבינט והחלטנו על פעולה עצימה בעזה. אנחנו תהיה הנאה של האוכלוסייה כדי להגן עליה.
Professor Neve Gordon, a leading voice in international law at Queen Mary University of London, has voiced profound concerns regarding the unfolding situation in Gaza and the actions undertaken by Israel. In his analysis, Gordon presents a disturbing allegation that Israel is deliberately employing starvation as a method of warfare against the civilian population within the Gaza Strip. This claim raises serious questions about potential violations of international humanitarian law. Adding to these concerns, Gordon scrutinizes Israel's decision to mobilize an additional 60,000 reservists. He challenges the rationale behind this substantial military reinforcement, questioning whether it signals an unwarranted and disproportionate escalation of military operations within the already volatile region. He probes into the specific objectives of this development and whether they align with principles of international law and the protection of civilian lives. Professor Gordon's analysis underscores the potential for grave legal and humanitarian repercussions stemming from Israel's current strategies in Gaza. His commentary compels a deeper examination of the ethical and legal boundaries governing armed conflict and the responsibilities of states to safeguard the well-being of civilians caught in the crossfire. The implications of his statements extend to the broader international community and its obligation to ensure adherence to international law and humanitarian rights standards in conflicted zones.
Israel's telling the world and its own public that Gaza is not occupied and that the laws of occupation are not applicable to the Gaza Strip. But even the laws of war under Article 54 of the Additional Protocol state that attacking, destroying, removing, or rendering useless objects indispensable to the survival of the civilian population is prohibited. So even in warfare, starvation is a crime. And indeed, in the Rome Statute of 1998, the same statute that created the International Criminal Court, it is considered a war crime to intentionally use starvation of civilians as a method of warfare, a tactic that it can involve willfully impeding relief supplies. So basically, Israel is claiming we are not in occupation, and therefore we don't need to ensure that the civilian population's needs are satisfied. All we have to do is allow and facilitate aid entering. But as we know, Israel does not allow aid to enter the Gaza Strip and is not facilitating the distribution of aid.
Still on the issues of Gaza, during a May Day commemoration, British actor and outspoken activist Khalid Abdallah offered a stark assessment of the situation in Gaza, labeling the ongoing conflict a genocide. Addressing attendees, Abdallah articulated a profound concern regarding the global ramifications of the Gaza war, asserting that the conflict has fueled the rise of authoritarian practices and ideologies worldwide. Abdallah's impassioned remarks underscored the interconnectedness of international affairs, suggesting that localized conflicts can exert significant and detrimental influence on democratic principles and human rights on a global scale. He argued that the violence and instability in Gaza, coupled with the international community's response, have emboldened authoritarian regimes and provided justification for the erosion of civil liberties in various nations.
The intersection of global issues we face is clear when we talk about Palestine, the way in which things are linked. Netanyahu, given the honour of being the first official invite to the White House in the midst of a genocide, to sit by the fireside and gloat over Trump's fresh idea to ethnically cleanse Gaza and turn it into a so-called Riviera real estate opportunity, is the vision of the old world disorder on steroids and acid. International law is being broken on the back of the genocide in Palestine. Authoritarian norms are being established on the back of the genocide in Palestine and those who try to stop it. Universities, the media, culture, and protest, all subject to acts of authoritarian disciplining, either through changes to the law or removal of funding. And the idea that to rise in any profession, not just politics, but any profession, at the very least, you must be silent about Palestine and pawn your conscience to whatever pragmatic gains are still possible on the terms of what our oligarchic class deem permissible, is a primary marker of corrosion in our politics and culture.
During a bilateral meeting with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, President Donald Trump asserted that his administration had the capacity to finalize 25 deals right now on trade, reflecting his dissatisfaction with media coverage that has highlighted a perceived lack of significant trade agreements. Trump emphasized his belief that other countries are more dependent on trade with the U.S., stating that they don't have to sign deals, they rather have to deal with them. He indicated a willingness to engage in further trade negotiations, suggesting that they can just sit down and all he has to do is to sign in the next 2 weeks. Trump further elaborated that the overarching priority for his administration is to establish clear expectations for international trade practices, including specific pricing structures. He stated his intention is to set a benchmark price that foreign entities would be required to pay in order to conduct business within the United States, comparing the U.S. economy to a super luxury store where premium prices are justified. This statement suggests a desire to assert greater control over trade terms and potentially impose higher costs on foreign companies seeking access to the U.S. market.
Everyone says, when are you going to sign deals? We don't have to sign deals. We could sign 25 deals right now, Howard, if we wanted. We don't have to sign deals. They have to sign deals with us. They want a piece of our market. We don't want a piece of their market. We don't care about their market. So we're going to put down some numbers, and we're going to say our country is open for business. And they're going to come in, and they're going to pay for the privilege of being able to shop in the United States of America. It's very simple. It's very simple. So I wish they'd stop asking, how many deals are you signing this week? Because one day we'll come and we'll give you 100 deals. And they don't have to sign. All they have to do is say, oh, we'll start sending our ships right now to pick up whatever we want or to bring whatever we want. It's very, very simple. And I think my people haven't made it clear. We will sign some deals. But much bigger than that is we're going to put down the price that people are going to have to pay to shop in the United States. Think of us as a super luxury store, a store that has the goods. You're going to come and you're going to pay a price, and we're going to give you a very good price. We're going to make very good deals. And in some cases, we'll adjust. But that's where it is. And we've been ripped off by everybody for 50 years, and we're just not going to do that anymore. We can't do that. And we can't let any country do that to us. We're just not going to do it anymore.
Following President Donald Trump's questioning regarding his intention to potentially make Canada the 51st state of the United States, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney firmly rejected the proposition, stating it's not for sale and it won't ever be for sale. The exchange occurred during a press conference held in the Oval Office, where President Trump proceeded to outline several purported benefits that Canadian citizens would allegedly gain by becoming part of the United States. These advantages, according to Trump, included tremendously lower taxes, a free military, and access to tremendous medical care, and other things. Ghana's definitive response underscores Canada's unwavering commitment to its sovereignty and independent identity, while Trump's remarks highlight a contrasting perspective on the potential benefits of closer integration with the U.S.
Mr. President, you have said that Canada should become the 51st state.
Yeah. No. Well, I still believe that, but takes two to tango, right? But no, I do. I mean, I believe it would be a massive tax cut for the Canadian citizens. You get free military, you get tremendous medical cares and other things. I'm a real estate developer at heart. When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful formation when it's together, I'm a very artistic person, but when I looked at that beauty, I said that's the way it was meant to be. But I do feel it's much better for Canada, but we're not going to be discussing that unless somebody wants to discuss it. I think that there are tremendous benefits to the Canadian citizens, tremendously lower taxes, free military, which honestly we give you essentially anyway because we're protecting Canada if you ever had a problem. But I think it would really be a wonderful marriage because it's two places that get along very well. They like each other a lot.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever. But the opportunity is in the partnership and what we can build together.
Never say never. Ever say never.
Visitors to Alcatraz share reactions to President Trump's proposal to reopen the island prison. Tourists visiting the historic site of the former Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary, located on Alcatraz Island in San Francisco, California, have been offering their diverse perspectives and reactions to President Donald Trump's reported proposal to potentially reopen the infamous facility as a functioning prison. The abandoned prison, once home to some of America's most notorious criminals and now a popular tourist attraction, has become a unique venue for gauging public opinion on the matter. Visitors from around the world are sharing their thoughts on the feasibility, practicality, potential symbolic implications, and overall merits of President Trump's suggestion to reinstate Alcatraz as a correctional institution, reflecting a wide range of viewpoints on the proposal.
I like tough on criminals, but I don't like wasting money on stupid ideas. I think it's a waste of money, way too expensive. Hopefully it's just all talk and not serious. It'd be too hard to get potable water, infrastructure, sewer there, employees there to build it. It just wouldn't be effective of use of the taxpayers' money.
It needs to remain a part of history. I'm a former prison guard, and rehabilitation is real. Punishment is best left in the past.
I don't think that they will, but I think that they absolutely should for the worst of the worst criminals. I mean, I know it's really ran down, but what do they deserve? They don't deserve any more than that, right? So absolutely, I think that for the worst, they should open it back up.
I just think it's silly, because there's so many more things that actually need to be done, that this is just like a look at me over here while they're doing something over here, or they're not taking care of what needs to be taken care of. It makes me angry.
Still on the international news, a federal judge has intervened in North Carolina's election process. The judge ordered the certification of Alison Riggs' victory in the judicial race. This order came after a legal challenge was launched against the election results. The challenge aimed to invalidate certain ballots cast in the election. Some of these disputed ballots were from military voters. A significant number of these ballots originated in Democratic-leaning counties. Following the ruling, Justice Riggs appeared on Morning Joe. She discussed the implications of the challenge on the show. Riggs characterized the challenge as a very real threat to democracy. She warned against the potential for future abuses in elections. She stated that allowing post-election rule changes would be dangerous. She emphasized the risks of selectively counting ballots. This would create a precedent with no clear boundaries or limitations. Such a precedent could profoundly impact elections nationwide. It could undermine the integrity of the democratic process. The lack of a limiting principle makes this prospect especially alarming.
Your opponent's main argument was that it was trying to take people's votes away, strip people off the roll, say, hey, this vote shouldn't be counted, put it simply. How concerned are you about that argument, that template, about making it simply harder for people to have their voices be heard?
I've been desperately worried about it for the last 6 months, which is why I've been fighting tooth and nail in multiple different courtrooms, because my parents were challenged. This was a throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. And it's very pernicious, this idea that search for a friendly court and try and get people you think didn't vote for you removed from the voter rolls, cancel their votes. That cannot exist in a space where a democracy rules the day. And what's gotten even worse is, as the field has narrowed, my opponent was challenging military voters, folks serving overseas and in harm's way, in 4 Democratic-leaning counties only. And so this idea that someone can selectively target voters based on where they live, based on an assumption of how they voted, to overturn an election. The threat that we have faced here in North Carolina has been at levels that at 2020 levels of what we saw after the 2020 election, which is why we have fought so hard, which is why we have, talked about this case in as many different places as we could, because we wanted folks across this country to understand the very real threat. But yesterday was a decisive victory. And I hope that this finally puts an end to this story. If people in power can, after the election, decide to change the rules and only count certain ballots, there is no limiting principle to that. As judges, we talk about limiting principles a lot. There is no limiting principle to that. So whether it's a tight school board race, a very competitive race for a seat in the U.S. Congress, or the presidential race in future elections, if we let this happen, it happens everywhere.
Friedrich Merz has officially been inaugurated as Chancellor of Germany, achieving this pivotal office after a second attempt. This successful bid follows a period of significant political uncertainty, triggered by an unprecedented defeat earlier in the day, which exposed deep-seated discontent and potential instability within his governing coalition. The initial setback underscored the challenges Merz faces in uniting his coalition and navigating complex political dynamics. Responding swiftly to the unfolding situation, a hastily organized parliamentary session was convened on Tuesday to address the leadership question. During this session, members of parliament cast their votes on Merz's candidacy. The outcome demonstrated a degree of recovery for his position, as 325 lawmakers ultimately voted in favor of approving his appointment as Chancellor. This level of support exceeded the minimum requirement of 316 votes necessary for confirmation, thereby securing his ascension to the chancellorship. The swift turnaround and the ultimate success of a second attempt highlight the delicate balance of power within the German political landscape and the critical importance of coalition management for Merz as he embarks on his tenure as a chancellor.
It was only on the second vote that parliamentarians agreed to give Friedrich Merz the chance to become chancellor. It is the first time in post-war German history that an incoming chancellor has failed to get the right number of votes on the first try. A great deal of disarray in the German Bundestag as a result, and ahead of that second vote being held, 325 lawmakers, however, voted for him to become chancellor, enough for him to go ahead and do so and pick up where he'd left off. The next few months will be his crucial continued ability to keep this coalition together, even though the failure of that first vote does not bode well.
Now in the world of entertainment, Efua Asantwa Osei Edionum, who undertook a singing marathon attempt in December 2024, has left many eagerly anticipating the official results. One curious fan decided to inquire about the progress of her record attempt. The fan posed their question directly in the comment section of one of her videos. The video featured Efua Asantwa dancing. In response to the fan's query, Efua Asantwa provided an update. She revealed that she is still waiting to hear back from Guinness World Records. The Guinness World Records team is responsible for verifying the attempt. They will determine if she successfully broke the existing record. Efua Asantwa's reply was brief and to the point. Her response was simply, "We are still waiting." This update confirms that the official verdict is still pending. Despite the time that had passed since December, no final decision has been made. The world awaits with bated breath for Guinness World Records to announce the outcome. The suspense continues as the validation process remains ongoing. In other news, to end the story, Ghanaian social media personality Showboy and his former signee, KT, are now in police custody. The arrest follows a violent clash between the two individuals. The incident occurred after a period of increasing tension between Showboy and KT. A court has remanded both men in custody for a period of 2 weeks. Showboy, who is associated with AMG Business, claims he was initially attacked in his hometown. He alleges the attack resulted in property damage and injuries to both himself and his entourage. The subsequent altercation with KT directly led to their arrest by the authorities. It is reported that KT suffered a particularly severe injury during the clash. He reportedly lost a portion of his ear as a result of the violence. Despite his arrest, Showboy insists that he is innocent of any wrongdoing. He is using the incident to urge Ghanaians to avoid taking the law into their own hands. Showboy advises people to report offences to the police instead of engaging in violent confrontations. Law enforcement officials acted quickly to detain both Showboy and KT. Authorities cited the severity of the assault and the long-standing feud between the men as reasons for their swift action. The two men will remain in police custody while the investigation into the incident continues. Now to end the news, the recap of the top stories. The Ghana police have arrested 4 in kidnapping of Chinese nationals from Ghanaian vessel. The Ghana Police Service have opened an investigation into the alleged assault involving Honorable Afenyo Markin. Alhaji ABA Husseini has warned persons who intend to perform Hajj with illegal visas and has stated that they will be arrested, fined and deported. President Donald Trump is also frustrated by trade deal coverage and claims the US holds leverage. The Canada Prime Minister has stated that Canada is not for sale and it will never be for sale. And in the entertainment news, Showboy and his ex-signee, KT, have also been arrested. To acknowledge my sponsors, Big Family Multimedia Institute, BFM Store, Center for Trade, Trustees Network Group. You can also watch us live and always follow us on Facebook at Big Family Radio. You can as well follow us on Instagram at Big Family Radio, YouTube and TikTok at Big Family Radio and Big Family TV. You can also download our radio app on Google Play Store and the App Store. All you have to do is to type in Big Family Radio and you would get it. A massive thank you to my producers. Thank you for joining News at 6. My name is Esther Akusiak Bubli. Thank you for joining. Have a good evening.